From Studio K at Foxboro Cable Access.
Saffron is essentially the stamen of a rose.
Feeling creative?
Sage has a great flavor.
Is your palate needing a new challenge? Well, let's cook with Mike DiMascio.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Let's Cook with Mike. I'm your host, Chef Mike DiMascio, and today we have another great show for you. It's getting cold outside. To timestamp it, we're in the middle of fall, getting ready for Thanksgiving. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different for this time of year, but we're going to make some sage chicken and butternut squash crepes with a cream cheese gravy to finish. We're going to use the rest of the juices and add some cream cheese to it to make a nice rich gravy for the end of it. So we have a lot of things to do today, a lot of components in crepes, as simple as a crepe may seem. They are a little challenging to make, and they take a little bit of time. So we're going to start with marinating our chicken first. I have some delicious chicken thighs here. We're just going to do a very simple marinade with these. I'm going to use some oil, balsamic vinegar, salt, pepper, and some of the fresh sage right here. So let's get going. Get some salt here. I'm ready to cook. Some salt, some pepper. It's delicious. We're going to let this marinate for about 10 to 15 minutes throughout our show here. A little bit of olive oil to coat, a little bit of balsamic vinegar. Again, you know, there's really no recipe to what you want, how you want to marinate it. It's all up to you. There's the quantities. You know, you want to do a 50-50 with the oil and vinegar, and the salt, pepper, and everything else is how you like it flavored, basically. And I'm going to be using here one of my favorite herbs to use in cooking is sage. Such a great flavor that it adds. I'm just going to pull out a few leaves here. We're going to do our nice ribbon cut here. Stack them all up. Stack all the leaves on top of each other. Roll it all up. Get your knife and create the ribbons. Now this is also a good start for a cut if you want to turn it into a small dice. Just turn your leaves around and cut it up, and you can also get a small dice. Right? So it just makes it a little easier than doing a leaf at a time. And we're going to add this in here. This is going to be a great marinade for this recipe. When it all comes together, you'll see we're going to have a lot of the sweet and savory from the chicken and butternut squash, and the finished gravy is just going to be this nice smooth texture to kind of balance it all out. All right, so we're going to put this in our refrigerator for the time being and let that marinate. All right, next up is we're going to make the crepe batter. Have all of our ingredients here. Very simple making these crepes, but there is a step process that you want to use. Get our nice big mixing bowl here. All right, we're going to take first our flour and salt and mix these together. This is a cup of flour, and again, salt to taste. Just going to do a few twists of the old grinder here. Get that all set to go. And we're just going to mix this up. All right, and then in our other bowl, we're going to crack 3 eggs. All right. Crepe mix is very versatile. You can use it for desserts. You can use it for, a savory meal. You can use it as, entree, appetizer. There's so many different types of fillings you can use in a crepe. Today we're doing a entree style. We've done dessert ones before with the blueberry and berry filling and the fresh whipped cream, but today we're going to do a nice entree dish. This is a 1.25 cups of milk, and we're just going to beat these up together, break my yolks, and get a good mixture here. Want to make this as mixed as possible. We want to get this crepe batter nice and smooth. And we're also going to chill this batter for a little bit while we wait to just just help it hold together a little better, so when we put it into the nice hot pan, it'll make a nice thin pancake for us. All right, so this is good and mixed here. And we're going to slowly incorporate this into our flour mixture. And again, if you were making a dessert crepe, you could add cinnamon into this mixture. You can throw any other herbs and seasonings. We're doing a nice chicken dish today. I want the flavor to come from my other ingredients, but you can add anything you'd like. You can put pepper in here. You can put any kind of seasonings that would match, that would go along with your the flavors that you're creating with your dish. So we're going to incorporate this slowly. It's going to be a very loose batter. And besides the crepes that we're making, we're going to make a mess, because anytime you work with flour here in Studio K, we make a mess. All right, we're going to get this all together here. I'm going to change utensils in a minute and go to my rubber spatula that I have. Try to incorporate this in. Again, we want to get a nice thin batter, and I'm going to show you a little trick later. If you can't get all of these lumps out, once this batter cools, you'll see what and we bring it back out. We're going to run it through a strainer, and just to make sure that we're getting all the lumps out, so we get a nice smooth batter for the crepe. But there's nothing wrong with having a few flour lumps in your crepes. No problem at all. Just like in a good pancake, you get them every once in a while. This is just a nice thin pancake. All right, so we got this great crepe batter here. As you can see, it's smoothing out. Looks like I'm incorporating all the flour. The recipe was very good. You can see the consistency is perfect, right? That's going to make a nice batter. We're going to chill it, so it's even going to come together a little thicker after we chill it for about 10-15 minutes. All right, so let's put this aside here. We're going to put this into our refrigerator. Okay. Now we're going to make our fillings for the crepes. All right, and that consists of the butternut squash, some garlic, some red pepper, and we're going to saute all that up in a few minutes. When we get to, we're going to bring the chicken back out. But now we're just going to take some time and clean our vegetables. So we'll start off with the butternut squash. Just going to use about that much today, if even. So again, I try to, obviously you don't want to take much of the beautiful butternut meat out of the vegetables, so try to get as close as you can to the skin. When you're going through the vegetable, just give a little pressure to the outside. I'm exaggerating here, but instead of going straight down, do a little edge, tilt it a little bit to your opposite angle. For me, it's the left, and get as close as you can to the skin so you don't lose all that delicious vegetable in the middle here. I'm just kicking out the knife as I go, just to get it nice and thin. Getting as much, so you can see that there's just not a lot of meat being taken off this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to continue. We're almost all the way around this beautiful piece of vegetable. Okay. Clear this all out. And I'm going to cut this into thin planks, because we are making crepes. We don't want big chunks. We want everything to be kind of small so that it's edible with just simple chewing, right? We don't want any big clumps in the crepe. We don't want anything to break the crepe as well, right? So we're going to do some nice thin planks here, and then we're going to make them into, as we like to call, matchsticks, or julienne, right? This is a beautiful julienne cut here. Even though they don't have to be kept uniform, that's one of the things I like to do, is to keep my vegetables nice and uniform, even though we're going to cut these even into smaller bits. All right. And what we're making here is going to be enough for, 3 to 6 people easily. we try to make enough here for a family of 4 this meal. I'm going to be making 6 crepes on 2 plates, but you could have 2 crepes to a plate. Again, you could do it as an appetizer, and you could do 1 crepe per plate. So you could get a lot of utilization out of this meal, because crepes are a great appetizer. Nobody would think of it, but you give 1 nice little crepe on a plate. It's a great starter to a meal, because it is light. The crepe is nice and light. The filling is what you make of it. You can do it, you can do a savory one like this. You could do a light appetizer as well, with different types of fillings. All right, so I think that should be enough of our butternut squash here. And then we're going to get some garlic. All right, this is all for our the filling of the crepe. Take off the skin, take off the edges. I always try to get that little piece that connects to the clove. All right, take all these off. All right, garlic. So again, when we're incorporating all these delicious flavors, we have the garlic and the sweetness of the butternut. The chicken is going to be super savory with the balsamic marinade. And it's just going to end up being this really nice dish. Still light enough that, you can make room for dessert. And if you have any extra crepes, you can do a crepe for dessert in the same day. Never enough crepes. All right, let's get this last piece off it here. It's always one. Okay, clear the board of this stuff. We don't want any of this in our dish. And again, we're going to put these into a very small dice. So I like to make a flat surface with my vegetable. If anything that's rounded, make a flat surface so that it becomes easier to cut. And again, cut into planks. All right, these nice little planks here, they'll be easier to stack. I'm going to reserve one of those pieces, those garlic cloves. All right, now they just kind of stack them up. So you can make your nice little julienne strips, and then we'll get into a small dice. I didn't stack these up too well. Oh, those are nice and stacked. So again, nice julienne strips. And once we get them into strips again, we're going to turn them all sideways, and we're going to make our small dice. Again, there's different ways to get to small dice. You can just, cut them into big pieces and just keep chopping until it gets smaller and smaller. You can do it a little meticulously like I do it, which I just do it this way because it's how I've been doing it. Everybody will always say, well, why are you trying to get them into the perfect size when you're going to end up chopping them anyhow? It's, it's just one of those chef things that we do. Okay. So we are in a great spot here. I'm going to cut up this. We're going to do the same thing for this. We're just going to take this red pepper. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make some small dice pieces here. Remove our sticker. Clear out some of that stuff. All right, and again, make my julienne pieces. Every piece nice and uniform. Again, it's going to be wrapped in crepe. Nobody's going to see it, so if you don't want to do it like I'm doing it, you can rough chop it any way you want. But again, I think the smaller the piece is the better with the crepe. Because again, you don't want anything breaking the crepe. You don't want anything, puncturing the sides so that it ruins it. Presentation. More julienne strips. All right. So we're in a great spot here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to heat up our flat top. Oop. One always sticks to the knife. Beautiful. And again, we're not going to be able to see it inside the crepe, but look at the beautiful colors, right? We got the colors of fall being represented here with the beautiful greens, the reds, the oranges. Fantastic. All right. So we're going to get our grill, yes, this is our Studio K grill, up nice and hot for our chicken. I'm going to cook that off first, and then I'm going to dice it. I really want to get a nice crisp on the outside. Again, it'll just add a little texture to the crepe. When you're biting into it, the butternut should get soft. The the red pepper should get soft, but we're going to get this nice tender chicken thighs that we're using. Get them a little crispy on the on each side. We'll dice them up and add it to our dish to finish the to finish it all up when we combine all the ingredients together. So we're going to get that nice and hot. We're going to get on our saute here so we can start our mixture filling for the crepe. A little bit of olive oil in here to get that going. We're going to get this on. Okay. You can hear it heating up. All right. And the last thing we'll do is the crepes. We'll get them done last. We're going to make our filling. We'll hold that once it's nice and warm. Once it's all done, we'll start our crepes. We'll make 6 crepes, and then we'll fill them and plate them and have a delicious meal. So now I'm going to go and get my chicken. So again, marinating this chicken here, you could do it overnight, be the best way, right? If you start the night before, marinate that chicken, you're going to have this intense flavor with the sage and the balsamic really seeping in. So we'll pretend that it's the next day with this chicken that's been marinating all night and has a delicious flavor. We're going to make sure this sear is nice and hot. It's not quite there yet. So what we'll do here, we got this heating up nice. And I'm going to add our garlic to start. That'll start to sizzle in a minute. We're just going to get this garlic just a little bit brown. Again, we want to bring out as much flavor as we can so that when you bite into it, you're going to get a little bit of everything. All right. And what we want to do is when you're cooking vegetables, right, you want to start with the densest ones first and then move to the ones that are going to take quicker, right? So our dense vegetable here today, even though it's cut up very small and will cook very fast, is our butternut squash. So we're going to go in next with that. As you can see, the garlic is turning just brown. That's exactly how we want to get it as it's sitting there in the oil. We're going to put our butternut squash. We're going to give the butternut squash about a 2-minute head start from the red pepper. Let this cook up a little bit. Okay. Our sear is getting nice and hot here. Just testing that out. Looking good. Do a little house cleaning here. I'm going to clean up a few of our herbs here so that when it comes time to add them to our meal, they'll be ready to go. Here we have some delicious thyme. Great way, easy way to clean the thyme, right? Just hold it at one end. Whoop. Whoop, hold it at one end and pull down, and most of the leaves will come off. And then the top, you can leave that little bit of stem because it is very soft, being the top of the herb, right? The top of the branch here. So we're just going to take a few of these, skin the bottom of this off. Oops. All right, just pull off these herbs. Delicious. Nothing like fresh herbs. I'm really trying to focus on buying fresh herbs at home, going away from the dried. I think, I'm just finding that you just get this much better, robust flavor from the fresh stuff. And as they get old, you dry them out yourself, and at least you know you have dried herbs that fresh herbs that you dried, instead of some store-bought ones that have been sitting around forever. You know they're nice and fresh. All right, so we're going to take these. That should be enough time for this. Don't even have to cut it up too much. We're going to get that in there. I'll grab a spatula. This is great. We're going to add our red pepper into our mixture here. And now we're going to sear off our chicken. We're going to cook it almost all the way on our grill here. And then we'll let it finish in the pan. So I'm going to put this pan on very low temp right now. Give that chicken a chance to catch up in the cooking process. Ooh, the aromas are coming, billowing through Studio K. As much as we love our local fire department, we don't like when they show up here at Studio K. We took all the necessary precautions to make sure we are well ventilated. All right. So the next herb I'm going to cut up in here will be our sage. Add a little more of that to our flavor profile. Same thing. I'm just going to pluck off a dozen or so of these leaves of various sizes. That'll add a nice flavor with the thyme. Again, we can do the chiffonade cut, right? There's a ribbon cut. Stack these all on top of each other. These are really small. They'll be tough to roll, so I'm just going to fold them in half here. Stick that one in there. Beautiful. All right, so like I mentioned before, I'm going to try to get a really good sear on this chicken. I'm going to let it so we can start to see it cook through the chicken from the one side. Once we start to see that happening, we will then flip it, get a quick sear on the other side. We'll dice it up in on our cutting board and get ready to make our sauce and filling here. But this is looking great already. I'm going to pull our crepe mixture out of the refrigerator now and get that ready. As you can see here, I have just a plate with the paper towels. As each crepe comes off, we'll layer them here so they can dry. We don't want to stack them on top of each other. They definitely will stick together, especially when they come out hot. Okay, so we're going to make one at a time in here. Going to throw a little bit of butter in our pan. So when I make my crepes, I like to get my pan nice and buttered, but I'm still going to use a spray. The spray just seems to lift the crepes a lot better than just the butter itself. And we don't want the crepes getting too browned by the butter. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pre-rub the butter into the pan as it heats up. And then the one thing I missed on this is we're going to add this butter. This is just going to make this a lot more savory as we get through. That's about 2 tablespoons of butter there, okay? All right. So we have our delicious batter here. Very simple batter, right, that we made earlier. Now again, I mentioned that you can run it through a strainer in case you feel like there might be too many lumps in there. Run it through a little strainer, you'll get a nice smooth mixture. Okay, I'm just going to pour this all in here. Help it through, and as you can see all of our lumps of flour in there, we're just going to push them all through. Now everything will be nice and smooth for our crepes. Save that for later when the cleaning elves come. We love our cleaning elves. They do such a good job. All right, so I'm going to... I'm going to use a fork to flip my chicken. So let's take a look and see how our indoor grill is doing here. Oh yeah, look at that nice char. I think we'd be out tailgating the way this looks. Beautiful. Oh, that's where I was going for, right there. Nice char. Again, that's not a burn. That's your balsamic vinegar just caramelizing on the chicken, adding delicious flavor. So there we go. That's nice. If you have a little kid, they're going to tell you, that's burned, but it's not. All right. We're going to flip that just for a few seconds. We have our mixture going great here. I'm going to melt that butter right up. I have this coming up to temperature. I'm going to get it up to real hot at first, and then I'm going to bring it down. Once I see the butter start to smolder a little bit like it is, I'm going to bring my temperature back down on this. And we're going to try our crepes. Let's go. All right. So I'm taking it off the pan. I'm going to pour just a few ounces into the pan, and I'm going to roll it to cover the entire bottom of the pan. And this is where induction cooking gets tricky with this stuff. Hopefully it can work. Now we're going to wait. We're going to get it to bubble almost like a pancake, right? We're going to get it to bubble. Once it starts to bubble, it should be able to lift itself off. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Well, you know, the equipment at Studio K never ceases to amaze. So here we go. We got a beautiful crepe here. My spatula's going right underneath it. Quick flip. Beautiful. All right, let it cook enough. It'll separate itself from the pan. Once it becomes nice and soft, and you can spin it on your own. That baby's done. All right. So there's one. Next. Now I'm just going to go to the spray. We're going to heat back up our filling here because this chicken's getting ready to come on off. All right, let's do crepe number 2. I promised 6 crepes. We all get one here today. And again, we're just going to roll the batter around. Again, you can make it as thin as you want. You can use as big as a pan as you want. All right. The chicken is looking great. Both sides looking really good. I'm going to leave them on this pan here, but I'm going to just turn the heat down so it starts to cool off. So it'll just make it easier for me to deal with it when I have to cut it. And again, so we got everything going on at one time, right? We got our filling going, we got our chicken cooking, we have our crepes working. Like a real kitchen. Studio K at its best here. All right, so in here, right, we got the butter, delicious. That's going to keep that nice and savory for us. All right, again, beautiful colors, even though we're going to get all mixed up in a few minutes. Another crepe. Beautiful. Crepe number 3. So as you can see, now that the pan is nice and hot, you don't need too much oil on the pan because you want the pan to do all the heating. And I'm doing about a scoop and a half of this stuff, of this ladle. There's a beauty. All right. Another crepe. Perfect. All right. So we're just going to keep, rinse and repeat this process here until we get our 6 crepes done. As you can see, they keep releasing on its own, which is great. Did you see here, the batter's still a little juicy? If you just spread it out a little bit, you want to kind of make sure that it cooks all the way through before you do the flip. The final flip is just to kind of seal the deal, really, right? Just to put everything together. You want to just cook this part of it, but you don't want it to be too soupy when you're flipping it over, right? As you can see, they're really pliable. I can stick my spatula right underneath there and not have to worry about anything breaking, right? You don't want to be too rough, but you can definitely manhandle these a little bit. And again, once it's done, boom, right over here. Let's go. A little spray, beep bop. Some crepes. Scoop and a half. Twirl. It's like having everybody right in my kitchen at home. Very comfortable here at Studio K. All right, we got this rolling here. I'm going to take a little bit at a time while I'm making my crepes here. A little bit of the batter. Okay. So again, this is just going to be a rough chop into a small dice. And we're just going to add it right to the pan. Now the chicken, as you can see, is just about cooked all the way through. This is going to be great. This piece might not be because it's a lot thicker. Let's see. Well, we're just about there. A few minutes in our pan here and we'll have deliciously cooked chicken thigh. And if you notice here on Let's Cook with Mike, whenever I use chicken, majority of the time I choose the thigh. I think just the darker meat has a lot more flavor. It's also, I think, a lot more tender, and it doesn't dry out when you're cooking with it. And we have all of our little scraps here. Delicious. All right, flip our crepe. Beautiful. Still gorgeous. 2 more to go. And as you can see, this batter will make more than 6 crepes. And again, when we're done making our entree crepes, add a little bit of vanilla, some sugar into this batter, mix it back up again. Now you make yourself a delicious dessert crepe. All right, the final piece to this puzzle for our filling is the cream cheese. This is going to smooth it all out and make it so it's a little easier to put into our filling. So we're going to put that in there. Just going to spread this around, and this is going to incorporate into the juices and just kind of hold all the pieces together. I'm using this versatile spatula for both purposes here. Temperature keeps going down on this puppy. Let's go. I'm at about 360 on my induction here for anybody that uses one at home. Kind of get it hot, that'll melt the cream cheese. But it's going to bring this all together. So the gravy is right in with the mixture here, using all of its juices. All right, here comes our 6th and final. Oop, almost sprayed myself in the eye. 6th and final crepe, which means one thing: it's almost plating time. I'm starting to hear stomachs gurgle here in Studio K from the crew. Everybody's a little hungry this morning. Cold weather, getting ready for the hibernation. Can't let those bits go to waste. Delicious. Okay, I'm going to turn this off here. Got our last crepe cooking. Yep, there she is. Right where I left it. All right. Oh, the temperature. These self-adjusting ovens here have a mind of their own. Okay. I'm going to do a little bit of house cleaning to get ready. I'm going to first, I have, for a garnish, right? I always like to use a nice garnish here to finish our plates, make them look pretty. Some delicious Italian parsley. Clean my knife. This will be the topper to the end of our dish. Yeah, you know, again, you can use the stems, but if you see them like these sticking out, just get rid of them. Better without it. Got another one in there. Just take the leaves, leave the stem. Okay. So you can see, I mean, you can use your hand on these crepes. The pan's just hot enough. I mean, you're not holding it over there for too long. It's my crepe roller board. All right. Now I need my plates that we're going to plate up on. We have our 6 crepes. You can turn that off so we don't hear the fan anymore. And let's get our plates. Okay. 3 at a time here. So we're going to take our crepe. We're going to take our filling. About 2 ounces in each one. Give it a little roll. Again, there's a few different ways you can present these. You can fold them in half, just like a quesadilla. You could roll it like I'm doing. Don't lose that filling. And you can, again, vegans, vegetarians, you want to substitute chicken for a mushroom or any other hearty vegetable to take its place. You want kind of like a meat-like vegetable. Well, there you go. Plate number 1 for the crew. A lot of dishes for those elves today. All right, let's get some more crepes. The crepes are still warm enough. If I was making these at home, what I would do is I'd roll these all onto a cookie sheet, and I would, throw them in the oven for, 5 to 7 minutes at about 325, just to get everything up to a proper temperature, a little more dinner, a little more dinner temp. Here we have the crepes were made a little bit in advance, so they're not piping hot. The filling's nice and hot though. This will be a great meal. Yes, sirree. So a lot of steps in this dish today. But boy, is it worth it. And again, there's no cuts. There's no edits here at Studio K. This is straight through. However long the episode is, minus some edits and cuts in the back room, but I do my show all in one take, most of the time. And we create these amazing dishes for a family of 2, 4, 6, however many, right here in a short amount of time, just to show that if you want to do something great and delicious, get that paper out of here. It doesn't take too long. It's not very hard. It just takes a little patience and a little effort. There you go. Here are our sage chicken and butternut squash crepes. 3 to 1 order. I think you can get away with 2. So that's a great fall dish for, watching football, watching college football, watching football. But thanks for watching today. This is another episode of Let's Cook with Mike. Love being here in Studio K. Thanks to the crew. Bon appetit. Let's eat. See how these came out. Beautiful. Great filling, filled right to the edges. Fantastic. Really great. Good stuff. I can't wait for everybody to have some. Thank you very much.